Hi, this is Alice Lenahan with Women on the Wall, and I invite you and encourage you to take action today. We need you to make some calls. Please call Governor Rick Perry and say, veto HB 2103, HB 866, HB5, HB 2836, and Senate Bill 15. Please continue to listen to a description of each one of these bills and why Governor Perry needs to veto. Thank you.
There is an effort that is making it's actually, there's actually progress being made where Governor Perry is listening, and we need to ask him to veto several of these bills. And if I could, Alice, could I go through the bills, give a brief description as quickly as I can? I know our time is limited. But I want people to contact Governor Perry and ask him. These are on his desk, these 4 bills, and they're miserable bills, and they must be vetoed. If he doesn't veto them, our state will have absolutely collapsed. Our public schools will be just like the Common Core standard schools all around the country. Our whole state public school education will fall to just absolutely be decimated and fall into type 2, which is a whole lot worse than just C-scope. That's what I'm trying to get people to see. There's more at stake here. If we lose this, we will, once you go down the slippery slope, you just can't get back up. All right, we've got House Bill 2103. Now, this bill was authored by Villarreal, by Branch and Seliger, and this bill is going to bring in data sharing. And the data sharing will be done by Centers for Education Research. There will be 3 centers that will be set up. These, I guarantee you, there'll be an advisory board over them. I guarantee you these centers will be filled with your leftist professors in this state and in other states. They will put together projects, education projects, present them to the advisory board. They will be accepted by the advisory board, and they will use data from 20 years back. All the data from the Texas Education Agency, that means all the PEIMS data, all the data from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board, all the data from the Texas Workforce Commission. They will be able to share personal, identifiable data with these different education research centers, and then those research centers will have permission to share that data with other states. Y'all, we will lose complete control. It is a national database system, just the way it is under Common Core standards.
Yes.
And they've come in and called it House Bill 2103. And it's the very same thing that we've all been, blasting the Common Core national database about. It would, once you take data, you know how much hacking is going on all across this country. And we know that once you let data out of your hand locally, then the further it goes on up the line, the less people care about keeping it secure. So 2103, that's a horrible bill. House Bill 866, which is going to decimate the STAR tests. Listen to what happens in House Bill 866, HB866. I'll get it right. HB866. This is Huberty's bill. These are the tests where you would have math tests in 3, 5, and 8. That means you would not be testing your kids. Your kids would not be tested in math on the STAR tests in grades 4, 6, and 7. Now, what happens if those teachers who have your child in 4th grade, for instance, and in 6th grade and 7th, what if they just don't teach the new TEKS because they don't like the new TEKS and they want to keep teaching the type 2, and they've got their units all prepared on types 2, and so they're just going to keep teaching them because they know their kids are basically not going to be tested in those grades. Then when your child comes out of 4th grade and he goes into 5th grade, then he's not going to go in with the prerequisite skills. Same thing in reading. In reading, they will be tested on the STAR on grades 3, 5, and 8, but they would not be tested on 4, 6, and 7. What if you have a teacher in 6th grade, for instance, for your 6th grade child? And that 6th grade teacher is just this wonderful little old sweet teacher, and she just hands out those little grades because she loves her babies, and she just pats them on the back, and they don't learn a whit. And then they get to 7th grade, and you have no test to show whether there has been an objective, a state test, in other words, a test that is put together by somebody else besides the teacher, in other words, and she's just handing these grades out to kids just because it keeps parents off her back and keeps everybody happy, and then your little 6th grader goes up to 7th grade and doesn't have the prerequisite skills. Okay, in writing, it's even worse. In writing, they're only tested on the STAR test in 4th grade and in 7th grade. That means in 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 8th grades, they're not even tested on writing. That breaks my heart because I was an English teacher for 33 years. Students have got to learn grammar and usage. They have to learn correct spelling. They have to learn punctuation, capitalization. They have to learn those skills. You can't learn them overnight, and you have to have lots of practice at putting those skills into place then in your writing. It's just, you can't get enough writing, and you can't be, you have to have some standards. These teachers, most of them do not even know how to teach grammar and usage, and there are lots of grammar and usage elements in the new TEKS. That's one of the main things that are in the ELAR TEKS. Grammar and usage, those are the two things we've lost our way in the United States. We're not teaching those anymore. So our standards force teachers to have to teach them, but those standards, the teachers are not going to be forced in 3rd, 5th, 6th, and 8th grade because their kids aren't going to be tested. On social studies, they're only going to be tested one time on the STAR test. That's in 8th grade. That means that those teachers in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, they're not even going to care about teaching what's in the social studies curriculum and the social studies TEKS. They're going to keep on teaching whatever they just decide they want to teach. The STAR and the TEKS, y'all, are the things that keep people, they keep the teachers on the right track. In science, they'll be tested in 5, in 8. They won't be tested on the STAR in 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th. We will lose the measuring stick at those different grade levels where we do not test them. And you as a parent will have no way to tell whether your child in those subjects and in those grades have been taught Type 1 or Type 2. All right, House Bill 5, of course, that's ACOG's bill. It is just awful. It takes the EOCs, reduces them from 15 to 5, and, that's just the same system we used to have before, in the old TEKS system, the one where you had the Type 2 TEKS back in 1997 when they were adopted. And for the period of time in there until 2008, that's the system we've had. And only now have we just begun to hold teachers and students accountable at each grade level for the TEKS. People are not going to care what is in the TEKS in subjects and in grade levels where kids are not tested. I'm telling you, I've been a teacher too long. I know how teachers think. We want to do everything we can to get Governor Perry to veto that. The last bill is HB2836, and this is the one by Ratliff. This is the Ratliff clan. This is Bennett Ratliff is the one who authored this. He's the brother, of course, of Thomas Ratliff and the son of Bill Ratliff. And, of course, this is the one that creates the committee made up of 14 people, only 2 of whom would be our elected state board members. And, of course, they'd be outvoted every which way. And the intent of this committee is to go into the Type 1 TEKS that have been adopted in the 4 core subjects and rewrite them. That is the intent, even though they try to hide the intent. So let me say one more time, the 4 we need to ask Governor Perry to veto: HB2103, HB866, HB5, and HB2836. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Donna. And is there anyone who has a question, a comment from any of our great guests? And Adam, I can't remember if I put this down, if I lowered your hand, if you have, I'm not sure if you had finished. Adam, did you finish, or did you have any more comments to make?
I actually had one additional comment as we were going through bills to veto.
Okay.
And while you're at it, as you're calling and contacting the governor, and I completely agree with everything Donna just said, I think all 4 of those bills should be vetoed. But while you're at it, add SB15 to your list. SB15 is the bill that would gut the regents of the university system and basically take them out of the hands of the governor and put them in the hands of the bureaucracy at the universities. And it's not a K through 12 issue, it's higher ed, but it's just as bad as everything else we're talking about here. And while you're asking the governor to veto bills, there are an awful lot of them out there.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you that the education, it's K through, it's just like the P20. And just, by the way, that House Bill 2103 that Donna was talking about, it is a P20 bill, meaning preschool through master's. So that includes the university level. It's not preschool through 20-year-olds. It's preschool through master's that they will have access to your data to use for the purposes of education research. And there's a lot of information out there now about the P20s and how they're setting this up from state to state. And it's just very scary. The FERPA laws, which are kind of like the HIPAA laws, but the FERPA laws protect our children, their privacy, their private information. With the new FERPA laws, Obama made it to where in the name of education research, they have access to this data without, hear me well, without parental consent. So all of this personal data they will have access to this. For teachers who are on this call, they have access to your data as well. And the whole Common Core movement across the state that is being funded by Bill Gates and the Gates Foundation, all of that data, which the connection, I don't think there's any question that the connection between Thomas Ratliff being a paid lobbyist for Microsoft and C-Scope getting in the door. These are not coincidences. And this kind of legislation opens the door for them to make products based on the data that they're able to capture. So this is huge. This is bigger than one education service center, than one school district, than even our state. This is a national Common Core movement, and C-Scope and the Common Core is just coming in the back door in Texas.